Let's dive right in here for a second. If a boyfriend comes in with new pants, by John Marcus Powell. If a boyfriend comes in with new pants, am I supposed to say they're for a man 20 years younger? Somebody at work asks me to dinner. No thanks. I don't like you. I have friends enough. Essential honesty is a contract for disaster and not a civilized response. But there are levels. It's a good idea to live halfway up the building. On the roof, you get soaked with lies. In the basement, near the boiler, parched from truth. I got a phone call from a good friend. That man is asking for your number. My friend was talking of a 30-or-so-year-old guy I'd conversed with at a party. I pass on my number. Mr. 30-or-so rings me up. We go out, and he brings out ideas in the ancient part of me that are slick and young and tough. 2 weeks into our relations, he mentions, "Hey, that girl you met with me at the party, I got her pregnant. Could you give me the necessary cash to call it off?" "Yeah, if the girl will consult a doctor friend of mine with a clinic near Central Park." But nobody appears outside the clinic, though arrangements were specific. It was all a fabrication. I was supposed to hand over the cash he'd asked for, mano a mano. He's Italian, hand to hand. He'd given a false address. As for the girl, she didn't really know him. And by that time, he'd returned to Europe. Did he need the money just for the money? We never met to sort it out. I was on a long list of fleeced fools called lovers. My friend who gave the party says there were many, and that should help. Mr. 30-or-so makes no distinctions. Both in Europe and America, all ages and genders are treated to his ounce. Is there something in his brain that makes him do it? Information is processed just behind the forehead. We have gray matter and white matter. Gray matter, by reputation, enjoys sitting still and being. White matter is what moves thoughts to other thoughts. It's the movement of the intelligence along. With too much white matter, he might connect with connections all too quickly, and there'd be no time for analysis or for any wish to develop analytical ability. An abstraction such as affection would be misconstrued. With lies uncovered, both deceiver and deceiver live without shelter. Is there no sign of a mist that will cover all there is and soothe my eyes? The answer is not to suck from a group of facts called situations. To realize that similar facts in different places mutate to definitions we don't own. This is known as wisdom, which, if you're old, can be acquired at any age. First, thanks. Huge thanks on behalf of Exotic Books to Cordis and John and to Sweet Bar for hosting us. This is really a great place. To our upcoming readers, Thomas, G, and David, for launching us. To all of you for coming to us. But most of all, thanks to John Marcus Powell himself for being born such a glorious babe. Second, appearances. Many of you in the room have heard this poetry, but I doubt few of you have ever seen it. And I confess, when I first took on the project of editing and publishing this book, I wondered just how, or even if it would be possible, to translate the depth of John Marcus's performance to the relatively flat visual field of the page. To say that the poems I saw in manuscript were all over that page would be an understatement. So much so that I suspect a more orthodox editor-author relationship, one more firmly rooted in literary capitalism or the inertia of academia, might have reduced that bewildering range in the interests of some sort of artificial consistency of visual voice. However, it quickly became apparent that the only way to preserve the integrity of the sound of the poems was to let the look of the poems run riot, to let typography become topography, to let variety try to capture vitality. And then, apart from the look of the words, there's the look of the book itself, the cover, and the illustrations. These are 100% the work of Julio Mendez Pereira, as is the layout of the entire project. Make no mistake, while John Marcus and I fiddled away the hours and days and weeks, moving commas and margins, obsessing over line breaks and turns of phrase, Julio was busy day and night creating and engineering the actual object you hold in your hands, with his characteristic blend of patience and audacious visual intuition. So please, for a man who will never plant his size 11.5 feet on any physical stage, let's hear a hearty round of applause. He could not have done this without your And finally, on a more somber and serious note, a note about a certain poem on page 16. A poem that revolves around a certain celebrity chef, whose first name is Julia, and whose last name is, In a recent email, one sent after the book had gone to press, David Yezzi generously concluded that rather than the always necessary flaw in the editing process that is crucial to proving us merely human, the misspelling of this chef's last name must surely have been a deliberate ploy by the poet. I would like to take that mischievous theory and run with it. Thanks, David. And without any more beating around the bush, I'd like to propose that each of you present at this launch takes a solemn oath of ludicrous allegiance to the little lie that this pesky nominal glitch was indeed an entirely deliberate move on the part of both poet and publisher. We'll just say the name was changed to protect the innocent and let it remain our intimate little secret. And to John Marcus, I can only say, what an utter delight to be your partner in the perpetration of yet another crime.